Hi, I'm Judith Kingsbury from SavvyVegetarian.com. Welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm going to make gluten-free flatbread. What I put in my flatbread is 1 cup of oat flour. Now I just use the regular organic oat flour from Arrowhead Mills. You can buy certified gluten-free, or you can use sorghum flour instead of oat flour. And I use a cup of millet flour. This millet flour came from an Indian grocery, and it's a different kind of millet than the yellow millet that we're used to, but it is delicious and it was a lot cheaper as well. I also use 1/3 cup of finely ground rice flour, which I also got at the Indian grocery, and it was inexpensive. You can buy finely ground rice flour also in Asian markets or online. And I use 1/2 cup of tapioca starch and 2 tablespoons of arrowroot starch, plus 1 teaspoon of xanthan gum and 1 teaspoon of salt. The essential ingredients in this recipe are the tapioca starch, the arrowroot starch, and the xanthan gum. Those act as binders and also make the recipe soft. Xanthan gum or guar gum are the best binders for this recipe, but you can also use ground flax seeds or ground chia seeds. 2 tablespoons of ground seeds mixed with 1/4 cup water, and that should be part of the total liquid for the recipe. So all the dry ingredients go in the bowl together. You need to mix it well so that the xanthan gum is spread evenly throughout the flour. Then I'm going to add my 2 tablespoons of oil. I'm using coconut oil, but you can use any kind of oil that you like. I mix in the oil using a spatula at first. The idea is to rub the oil well into the flour. If you want to leave out the oil, you can. You will get a drier, less flexible flatbread. This makes about 12 flatbreads, so that's about 1/2 teaspoon of oil per flatbread. It's 20 calories from oil in your flatbread. So if you can live with that, it's well worth adding some oil to the flatbread. Okay. Now I'm going to get my hands in here and rub the oil into the flour. Just keep rubbing until there's no more streaks of oil in there. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. Kind of has a crumbly texture now. I've got 1 cup of water plus 2 tablespoons, and I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of lemon juice to that for a total of 1 1/4 cups liquid, and pour that into the flour and oil. It will seem at first as if there's way too much water in here, but just keep stirring. It comes together into a ball. The more you stir it, the more it hangs together. Once it comes together into a pretty solid ball, then you sprinkle the work surface with a little bit of the fine rice flour. Turn the ball of dough out onto the flour and knead it just for a minute or 2. You don't need to incorporate much flour. The idea is just to make a smooth ball of dough. This dough should be pretty soft, about as soft as it can be and still be a dough. I store my flatbread in a glass container with a tight-fitting lid, and I've kept it for up to 4 or 5 days in the fridge. This is some flatbread dough that I've had in the fridge for a couple of days, and it gets a lot stiffer when it's in the fridge, but when you break off your chunks, you can knead it and soften it up a bit. I just use pieces about this big. That makes a 6 or 7 inch flatbread. You can make it bigger. It's a little harder to handle the bigger it gets, so I stick with that size pretty much. So take your ball of dough and flatten it out. Get flour on both sides and roll it out. Roll it out from the center to the edge, working your way around. Then it will stay a nice round shape and be an even thickness as well. When the rolling pin starts to stick, turn it over and flour some more. This is another reason to make the dough pretty moist, because it does soak up flour when you're rolling it out. You can see that it gets pretty thin. Just use a spatula to pick it up. Now I'm going to put it on the pan. You want the pan hot enough, maybe medium to medium high, depending on your stove. It should be hot enough to make the tortilla puff up without burning. Here's my flatbread, which has puffed up. Lovely. You don't need to cook it as much on the other side, maybe for just a minute. Once it puffs up, flip it over.
And you didn't have to put oil in the pan?
No, no oil at all.
Wonderful.
You can oil it if you want to. This is good. You just want it dry on the bottom for the other side, like that. Oh, start again. If that happens, just gather it up and start again. Use a little more flour next time. Maybe I'll roll out this one out, not quite as thin. Don't want it to burn though. Maybe I'll flip it over. Oh, this one's toast. Yeah?
Let's see.
Burned.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Now I need to turn this down a little bit. It's too hot. Get rid of this. Oh, well that didn't work. Sometimes you win a few, you lose a few. You can just kind of stick it back together though.
Yeah.
It's going to have a hole in the middle, but that's all right. Now we're ready to make some sandwiches. Some pesto, avocados, barbecued tofu, tomato, cucumber, lettuce. There's our sandwich already. Are you hungry?
Absolutely.
Ready for lunch?
Ready for lunch.
All right, let's eat. Thank you for joining me to make gluten-free flatbreads. If you like this video, please remember to click the like button and share it with your friends. Enjoy your lunch and see you next time.